Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Prod Pod, episode 9!
Wow, that was some
Thanks
serious
for that.
enthusiasm. I really enjoyed that.
Good stuff right there.
I love 9. Yeah, 9's good. My name is Jared, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Brian.
And I'm Ian.
And sitting across from me is my audio man, Adam, as usual. Now, normally, at this point in the show, I asked you gentlemen how your weekends was, but I really don't fucking care because I got way more pressing business to talk to you about.
Take it on.
Holy
Take it over.
I
give my time to the floor.
All right, thank you. I yield my time to the senator.
Yes.
Gentlemen, we need something added to this show.
Broads?
You know what we need? What's that?
Broads?
Broads is definitely right, guys. We need a Gina. We need a Gina on this show.
Oh, I miss her.
Let's
everybody else.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I gave my time to the senator. I apologize.
All right. And not everybody knows what a Gina is, but I'll explain to you. We might have mentioned it once before, but
is it like a
back
China?
when we were. That's what I call it when I go in. The Gina.
It's all the way in your Gina.
The vagina. Sounds almost French. But back when we used to do a radio show, the three of us, at one time, a young lady was shoehorned into our show as my partner, and her name was Gina. Brian and I hated this bitch, but apparently Ian has a soft spot in his heart for her.
No, I think it was the typical Ian. I don't hate her, and I don't really like her. I could take her one way or the other kind of thing.
I am beige on the whole thing.
More or less. I definitely don't hate her. I don't know well enough to say that I really like her.
God damn it. Will you take a fucking stance on something?
No. Why? I don't have all the information.
I do. She was a see you next Tuesday.
Oh, my God. Damn it, Ian. Will you be a stupid American and form an opinion without any information, please?
I remember her fondly. She was nice to me. If I remember correctly, she was pretty. So she must be a good person.
All right. Also, Obama's coming for your guns.
That's fine.
So how did I come to this conclusion, gentlemen? I will tell you how I came to this conclusion. As you know, we've been putting the shows up on YouTube. All right?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
There's lots of broads on the YouTubes.
Yes, there is. And last week I put up the Thor episode. And in big bold letters, I put Thor: The Dark World review and posted it. And then I wanted to see where it came up in the search list. So I went to regular YouTube under my regular account, typed in Thor: The Dark World review. Went through search page after search page. I got through 16 pages before I gave up because ours wasn't on there. So to give you any indication of how popular we are. But there was one that stuck out to me on the first page that said Thor: The Dark World review and had a chick with ginormous breasts in like some kind of Marvel type t-shirt. Clearly, being a disgusting, dirty old man, I clicked right on this.
Just like everyone else who has clicked on it.
Exactly. I watched this review, and this chick is, oh my God, there's nothing going on behind her eyes. It's complete emptiness, right? But she must have switched her shirt 3 or 4 times in the video. And I looked down, and it had like 150,000 views. So based on this, and I'm not, I don't know if I should say the name of the channel or whatever it was, but fuck them. I don't want to give our competition any publicity. And I'm not faulting them for their channel. They do a lot of other stuff. They do song parodies. They do this and that, right? But the broad is, she's just eye candy. That's
the draw.
it.
She's the draw.
Yeah, exactly. Because the review was fucking awful. It was not nearly as in-depth as ours. And it was kind of like, what did you think of Thor? I thoroughly enjoyed it kind of shit. That's what was going on. And it really didn't matter what she said. She could be like, I'm going to take a shit. And it would have been just as interesting and informative.
That's a movie that Ian would watch.
Exactly. She must be listening to our show.
Yes. So here's another trick. If you don't want to get a broad to actually do the entire show, you just stick a picture of a broad in at the last clip of the video.
Brian, you are on the exact page that I am on.
Okay. So continue.
I decided for the next video I'm just going to try and find a picture of a chick with big tits and put that in as our preview photo and see how much that garners.
Of course, if it's somebody who's known.
Yeah. Well, that was my other thing. I wanted to maybe put a call out if there's any chicks out there listening, and I'll see if I can find any. Yeah, I know, sir. I know, sir. I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer.
They're only listening if they happen to be sitting next to somebody who is listening, and they have their earphones turned up really loud.
I'm a dreamer, like Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
But this way we could just get this chick or somebody to wear a T-shirt of maybe what we're talking about that week, put that right up on there. Maybe turn that into our little icon for the YouTube page. Are you behind this idea, gentlemen? Do you want to sell out for sex?
I think I'm fully in favor of this.
I think I have maybe like $10 in my pocket for you to give some woman to wear a shirt that ties into our show, and then she can just sit there for a few minutes and because you're going to have to pay somebody to do that, I feel.
Not if it's a friend of ours or somebody who's willing to help us out on the show.
Okay.
Well, Brian and I don't have friends anymore, so we're totally reliant on you.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Old Snaggletooth from last week?
Yeah, I guess so.
She might be willing.
We'll be playing the part of Hooters McBoob or Chesty LaRue.
Just start trolling Backpage.com and finding chicks that'll wear a T-shirt for $5.
There you go. Listen, I know you're charging $150 for Around the World, but how much to wear this Captain America T-shirt for 2 seconds and let me take a picture of you?
Because they have adult jobs on there. You just post an adult job. We need an adult for that job.
All right, I'm sure I know a broad who will do this for us.
Okay.
If not, I mean, how much trouble can I get in if I start just snagging pictures from the internet somewhere or some random chick?
None until someone notices, and then you get in trouble.
All right. And then I just take it out.
Right, exactly. But we've already got 150,000 views by then, so we're okay.
Adam, get on that. Find me a chick I can take pictures of.
Okay, boss.
With a telephoto lens from like the next county over. Start taking pictures of her.
Yeah.
She'll never know.
Now, also, which I know Ian's going to hate this, but as I was editing last week's show, too, and I was listening to our 45-minute diatribe on Man of Steel, which I think I had to cut out about 20 minutes worth of stuff, I'm sitting there, and I pause for a second, and I light a cigarette, and I go, you know, there was more I could have said. There was more about this movie I could have said. I won't. I'm not going to, Ian. Don't worry. But there was a lot more, and then that leads into there is some Man of Steel news out there, very briefly. I don't know if you guys heard this yet.
No, please.
Doubtful.
Enlighten us.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. And talk more about it if you want. I'm totally not on vacation now, so I have nothing left to be excited for.
Oh, okay.
So that show can run on all night long.
All right. Well, don't worry. I think we beat that dead horse to a fucking pulp. But this week, Warner Brothers registered a bunch of possible titles for the Batman vs. Superman movie. Are you ready?
I heard
this?
I heard these already.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay. Just going to start at the top.
Man,
all right.
So good.
Man of Steel, Battle of the Night, and that is Knight, not regular night.
Oh, okay.
Man of Steel, Beyond Darkness, Man of Steel,
I like that too.
Black of Knight, Man of Steel, Darkness Falls, Man of Steel, Night Falls, Man of Steel, Shadows of the Night, Man of Steel, The Blackest Hour, and finally, Man of Steel, The Darkness Within.
They're all about the same.
Brian?
So,
yes, sir?
Our buddy Leonard had sent me this list last week, and I was like, are you kidding me? These are all terrible. And in the article I read, someone what they had written was, at least we can infer that Batman will be having a really, really crappy day in this storyline. I guess Sunshine Superman will come along and lift his spirits by the third act, though. And I said, Sunshine Superman would be a better name for this movie than all those terrible titles. And then he actually called back to last week where he said, Superman Punches: the movie would be a better title than any of these.
When I just rattled off these names to Adam before we started the show, and he goes, it sounds like Superman's a black dude in this movie.
It's Henry Irons.
Like, who's the brother playing Superman in this?
They get Steel to play him. The movie's just Steel this time.
Keep in mind, I guess they just register these names so other people don't take them.
Maybe they're just
Is that-
all red herring. Maybe
I
it's
guess so.
they're just going to keep laying down clues to show people that they're completely incompetent and they don't know how to make a movie or a title for a movie or anything. And then hopefully it's just a big ruse, and the movie that comes out is something genius. But
I don't understand. I don't understand this. Like, what is the reasoning behind registering these names? Just
exactly what you said. It's so nobody else can take
so
it.
other people can't use them.
In case
so they worried like Asylum Studios is going to make a Batman Superman knockoff and they can't use any of these names.
Well, in case they actually decide to use one of them too, I think.
Right, then they have to pay for that.
Oh God, I hope it's none of these. Why can't it just be Superman / Batman and be done with it?
Why can't it just be World's Finest? Isn't that Batman and Superman?
That would be a good one. Well, I don't know. That sounds a little weird though to someone who might not know the comic book.
And not to mention the fact that this
Finest.
it seems to be the first time they're meeting or something,
true.
so it doesn't make sense, I guess.
And in some other related news in regard to this, the Arrow producer just came out and said that there have been no talks to incorporate Arrow into the Justice League movie.
Boo.
Yeah.
So, but isn't I think I've seen? Are there sneak peeks of Barry Allen, or have pictures leaked of Barry Allen? What he's going to look like on the show?
Yeah, he looks like a 15-year-old kid.
Oh, okay.
It was very depressing when I saw it.
He's not all beefcakey.
No, but I mean, I understand the Flash is supposed to be kind of like a skinny dude,
Mhm.
but I don't know. He just looked very, very young for the part. And that is all the DC news that I have for this week because I didn't do any investigating. But I thought you would get a kick out of those names.
You are no Dark Knight, my friend. You are not.
No, but I am Dark Knight Falls.
Yes.
So moving along, Brian, would you like to grace us with some Doctor Who news?
Yeah, sure. I'll take on the reins of this since neither of you watch or couldn't care less about the Good Doctor. This past week was the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who. It was about an hour and a half long episode, and it was honestly, I've been kind of falling off the Doctor Who wagon in the past season. The most recent season was not very inspired until the last episode. And I really had no idea what they were doing with it. And they had their big reveal, like they've had since the newest incarnation of Doctor Who since 2006. It's typically a season-long story arc. It just kind of all comes together at the end. But it's been interesting along the way. And this past season I felt was not very interesting until the very end. And what they did with this 50th anniversary episode is basically say, this huge overarching storyline that's been going on for the past 7 seasons about something that the Doctor had done as one of his past incarnations. They basically rewrote that story in this episode and said, well, they went back in time and fixed what he did and said, all right, so now this big thing that was a driving force for Doctor Who over the past 7 seasons has now changed into a hopeful thing instead of something that he carried with him as an albatross, something that he felt terrible about. It is now this hopeful thing that he's basically, I feel, is going to propel the next couple seasons, if not the entire series, in a different direction.
So explain to me what was going on. You had the last Doctor. Was the show off the air for a while? And then it just came back with this big 50th anniversary thing?
Well, the last season, the most recent season ended in March, April, May, sometime around there. Probably, I think, April. And typically what happens is they come back and do a Christmas episode, and then they start the regular season sometime in January or February, and then they do 12. It's typically 12 episodes. This was a special. They've never done an episode, I don't think, in November. This would just happen to be. It was 50 years to the day that Doctor Who had started. It was November 23rd, 1963, when the first episode aired. So that they wanted to do a special 50th anniversary episode of it.
Damn, the day after JFK got shot?
Yep.
I was going to say. Doctor Who was the guy on the grassy knoll.
That would make a lot of sense. He's a Time Lord.
It actually was.
That could have been the thing that's been weighing on him for 7 years now.
The episode was actually delayed by like a minute or so the night it aired because they were still going over like the JFK news, and there was something else big that happened too that delayed the episode. But anyway, yes, it was the day after JFK was shot that the show had aired.
Does he go back in time and kill Jackie because he missed her the first time?
No.
He's like, this has been bothering me for 7 years that I missed that shot.
Well, here's the thing, and again, things you don't care about. But in the show, since it's all like Ian loves to say, it's the non-linear time travel thing that he can't wrap his head around. It's obviously not just time travel, but is also dimensional or space. He travels through different points in space and time. So in the mythos, there's certain points in time that are locked, that once they happen, they can never be changed. And of course, they do this so they can say, like, I can't go back and stop JFK from being shot. That kind of stuff. But this grand thing that happened to the Doctor that he's been carrying should have been a point in time that was locked, but for some reason they were able to go in and fix it. And they're not sure. They themselves, the doctors that ended up doing it, weren't sure why. But we, as the watchers, know what happened. Anyway,
gotcha.
They were able to pull a bunch of doctors together. The most recent Doctor, the prior Doctor, and then a Doctor that we did not know about until the end of last season, who was played by John Hurt. They were able to get them together, and then they had little cameos from all of the Doctors throughout the series, by either some of them showing up or most of them being like archived footage that they used for their own purpose. But it was really an incredible episode, and I was very happy with the plot of what they did, and I was very surprised with what they did, and there was all kinds of little Easter eggs in there for Doctor Who fans of all ages. So I just wanted.
Well, I thought this 50th anniversary thing was supposed to introduce a new Doctor.
Well, it did very briefly. Basically, in part of the storyline, all of the Doctors up until now come together to do something. They all show up in their TARDISes, and they're all on video screens saying, all right, I'm doing this thing. And the current Doctor says, all right, all 12 of us are here, or all 11 of us are here. And then the newest Doctor basically voices and says, oh, I'm here too. Or like, oh, all 12 of us are here. So he's basically saying the next Doctor is here. But we haven't actually been introduced to him yet. It was very odd. So I'm sure they're going to explain it in the Christmas episode, which airs in a couple weeks, because that is Matt Smith's last episode. That is this current Doctor's last episode. By the end of that episode, he will have regenerated into the next Doctor. And we will be technically then introduced to the new Doctor.
So what do you say? You saying yay or nay to this?
I'm saying it was great. It was... it actually reinvigorated my like for the show, for Doctor Who. Like I said, the past season I was kind of waning. I liked Matt Smith as the Doctor, but I felt that there was no real gravity to some of the things that were going on in the show. And this just changed everything now. And I really think I still go back and tell people you should just go back and watch it from the beginning of this run. So it's 2006 and watch it. And I know you said you don't enjoy it, but I guess it's not for everybody. I just really, really enjoy the show. And I think the new Doctor, this Peter Capaldi, he's an older guy. He's taken over as the Doctor. There hasn't been an older Doctor since the show started. They've all been kind of young guys. Chris Eccleston, then David Tennant, and then Matt Smith. They've been getting progressively younger. And now, basically what they're trying to say, I think, is that since this thing has been lifted off of him, since he is no longer running from this major terrible thing he did, that he is basically letting go, and he's regenerating into an older person. I don't know. It's
old guy and science fiction, Brian? I thought you weren't down for that. Old guys and science fiction don't mix.
I'm not up for old guys writing science fiction. They can star in it all they want. I'm not up for them writing it.
You're like, this fucking Ben Kenobi guy is way too fucking old to be in a science fiction movie.
Yeah. No, I don't want to go too far into it, because I'm going to tell you guys stuff about the show, and I'll hear you like breathing through your mouths and staring off into the middle distance on the other end of the microphone. So I won't go into it, but it was a really, really good episode.
Yeah, while you were talking about it, Adam and I had shotguns pointed at each other, and I was like, anytime now, just shoot me first. I'll go first.
On the count of 3.
All right, let's move on to a show that way more people watch than Doctor Who. And that would be Family Guy, which had a pretty important episode this week. And normally I wouldn't even talk about this show, but they did something pretty amazing. Would you not say?
If it sticks, yes.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, spoilers right away. If you haven't seen it and you're a big Family Guy guy and you don't want the show ruined for you with the overarching story arc of Family Guy,
which would be
they killed off a major character.
Is there really an overarching story?
That's kind of like why I was like, why would you even fucking care? But They killed off Brian, a major cast member, something that The Simpsons never teased us or never did for us before. They teased off killing characters, but it's not like
they've never killed anyone in the
Lisa dies.
family. They have never killed anybody in the actual family.
Right, and Family Guy did this, but after I was talking to Brian about this, he told me that this is probably not going to stay and that he'll be back.
Yeah, there are signs that point that this is not going to stick. Basically, the fact that 2 episodes of next season have Brian's name in them. I think one's called like Brian's a Bad Dad or something like that, and I can't remember what the other one is. And then the guy who voiced Brian's doggy replacement,
Tony Sirico
from The Sopranos.
Yeah, he was Paulie Walnuts.
Yeah, he. I think he's only credited in upcoming episodes. He was only in last night's episode. He was only in the most recent episode. He's not listed at any of the upcoming ones. So there's signs that point that this won't stick. But I mean, who knows? Maybe his character goes away and they don't have a dog. I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like this was a season ender. They still have the rest of the season to go. And you're saying that this character or Brian's supposed to show up next season or in future episodes this season?
In next season. Well, it could be future episodes of this season. It's in 2014. I just don't know if it's the end of this season or the beginning of next season.
But the fact that the other guy is not supposed to be in anymore leads me to, are they just going to go without that character?
I don't know. Like I said, there are signs that point that it's not going to stick. And the fact that it's a cartoon, the fact that it's voiced by Seth MacFarlane, the fact that he is a major player in the show and a lot of the funniest shit on the show comes out of Brian.
That's true, yeah.
And the interaction between him and Stewie. And every time that Brian ends up remembering he's a dog and starts acting like a dog. All comedy gold. And for them to have done that, and then what? They're going to focus more on Peter? Ugh. No thanks.
Yeah, why not kill Chris? What does he add to the show?
Because he's voiced by someone else. He's not going to fire Seth Green or fire Mila Kunis, just because it had to be a character that was voiced by Seth MacFarlane.
I guess that's true. Although they could fire Mila Kunis. I mean, she has like one line of show.
She really does. But it's still pretty damn funny.
Yep.
So I saw the episode and Ian saw it, but you didn't, Brian, right?
I did not, but I did some research.
Yeah. I mean, it was, if I had not known and I just watched it, I'd be like, okay, at what point's he coming back? When's he coming back? And then it's like, nope, he's not coming back at the end.
Really, I know, and it's really, I think, uncommon for Family Guy, if it ever, that they inject that much genuine emotion into an episode.
Yeah, that's true. It was pretty emotional.
I really didn't know how to respond.
I might not. I should probably warn my wife to not watch this episode. She might get upset.
Well, if you really think that Brian's never coming back, then yeah, it might hit home. If you're, especially if you're a big fan.
Even if he does, I mean, just that episode where they're, the family's surrounding him and he's on his deathbed and he's giving his final speech to them. It was it was about as moving as a cartoon can be.
Yeah, and it was pretty graphic too. Like
it was incredibly graphic.
Very fucked up on that table.
Yeah, he got hit by a car, right?
Right.
Yeah. To touch on, because Ian had said they don't really put this much heartfelt into episodes for Family Guy. Do any of you guys remember the episode where Brian and Stewie were locked in the bank vault?
Yes.
Okay, I felt like that was a very strong episode, even though it was really gross at the end. I felt that was a very strong episode of the feels, a lot of feels going on in that episode. But it's been so long since I've seen it, I don't remember a ton about it other than the...
Right, I don't remember it either. I'm sure there have been other episodes, it's just I find it really uncommon in Family Guy.
Yeah, and I don't watch the show enough to really say. I watch it sporadically.
Got it. All right.
What else do we have to talk about?
You guys are going to tell me about Almost Human.
Right. New show on Fox, a mid-season, whatever you fucking call it. What am I doing here, Adam? Looks like I'm trying to fuck the computer.
A train.
Trying to run a train? What?
Yes. I forget what they call them. A mid-season something. I don't know.
Replacement?
I'm not in the... Yeah, maybe a replacement.
It's a TV show.
I'm not in the fucking biz, all right? I don't fucking know.
It's not really mid-season, though, either. It's really early to do a mid-season.
Mid-season would be more January, right?
Yeah.
So there's a new show. It's called Almost Human. Stars Carl Urban. He's got an android sidekick. Tell me more.
That's it. You got it.
Oh.
No, actually,
all right, that was a great show.
I really... I enjoyed at least the first episode. I didn't get all the way through the second episode due to other things, but I really enjoyed the first episode. Basically, it happens 35 years in the future, I believe. And the storyline is that technology has pretty much exponentially grown to the point where it's everywhere. Everything has been technologically advanced, and criminals are using all of this new technology to their advantage to create for their criminal activities. And the cops couldn't keep up, so the cops then created androids to help them. Well, they didn't create them. They obviously had them created, and they
There's cops in a lab. I don't know how this fucking fits in here.
So the androids basically joined the force, and every human had to have an android with them, and the androids helped the humans to fight off the technologically advanced crimes that are going on. So I actually liked that bit of the story. So it's a buddy cop show, but it's also got a lot of science fiction and technology things going on in it. And there's
Ian, it is essentially what I got out of it is a mix of iRobot.
Sounds like it so far.
iRobot, and I would say
Lethal Weapon. No.
Lethal Weapon, iRobot, Lethal Weapon, and Blade Runner.
Very, very Blade Runner. In fact, I said that while watching. I said that to my wife. I'm like, there's so much Blade Runner going on in the show.
Yeah, the whole city is,
Yes.
I mean, even the beginning, he's like, I'm eating noodles in the
Yep.
Chinese or Japanese district of the city.
Yep.
Ultimately, the show is not, I mean, it's not overwhelmingly great, but I have to say the special effects are very, very good for a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to the bots, and there's various other little things, all the weapons and stuff like that, and the acting is really good. It's got a lot of good actors in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Carl Urban.
Lily.
I mean, listen, I could watch Carl Urban do anything. All right. I just like him because he looks perpetually pissed off all the time. And I love it.
And
then Ian, you might like this. Lily Taylor is in it.
yes.
Do you know who Lily Taylor is?
Boy, that she sounds familiar. She does. No, help me out.
You'd recognize her if you saw her. I'm trying to think of something you might know.
She was on 6 Feet Under for a few seasons. She was in The Haunting.
No.
The movie The Haunting. She was just in The Conjuring.
All right. She was Lloyd Dobler's best friend.
Yes.
In Say Anything.
Joe lies when he cries.
Joe lies.
I think I know who it is
She's a little
because I
bouncy
think
face.
she was in a lot of indie movies, but I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, but she plays as the Chili's police. Yeah, that's what it is. Chili pepper.
Chili's police.
But even the guy who plays the bot, Dorian, is he's pretty good too.
He is. I don't
right.
know who he is, but I like him.
Yeah, he looks like a fucking robot. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, so
Like,
do
I've
the
never
other
seen
models. The other people who played the other models, I think, look very. It's like, how do you put out a casting call for that? Need people to look like robots.
Oh, and it also has, and I don't know this guy's name, but the scientist guy who works on all the
Yes. I can't.
he's from
Go ahead.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Is he?
Jeffrey Rush,
No.
He's the
Johnny Depp.
comedy duo guys. He's the skinny one.
Orlando Bloom.
No.
I'm gonna name everybody who's ever been in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
It's Keira Knightley. No, he's the one with the wooden eye, with the
Oh, that guy.
glass eye. Yeah.
Sure.
Surprisingly enough, do you know that he was actually in Game of Thrones as well?
Well,
I
I'm
did
not
not know
surprised,
that.
but tell me more.
He plays and I can't believe this. I read all the books and watched the show. I can't remember the character's name, but the guy, he's
He
the guy
hangs
who's
out on
kind
the
of
wall.
like he's all over Jon Snow's girl, and he's like, you don't fucking love him. He's a fucking
Oh, yeah, that
Southerner."
guy.
Yeah,
Okay, he's a wildling that was trying to get them to break up.
right.
Yes.
Same guy, Orlando Bloom.
Classic Orlando.
So Brian, you said you've only gotten halfway through the second episode.
Yes.
I watched the whole thing. It was okay. It was on par, but there is just one line in there, and I don't know if you got to it, where they're driving in the car, and he's talking about his dating site.
Yes.
He's like, "You scanned my balls."
Yes. That's
all you need to
actually
know.
right where we turned it off because Kim was falling asleep.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Like, you just missed the best line in the whole episode. You scanned my balls.
So, despite everything that we have said about the show, if you want to watch something where Carl Urban utters the words "You scanned my balls," you can watch the show.
That's gonna be my ringtone now. You scanned my balls. Okay? So you're saying like you watched the first episode and like it's average television. You said like the effects were really good. I feel that always the first couple episodes are always a little weaker, and they have to build off stuff. And I'm almost always for science fiction on television.
Yeah, I agree with you that. I just felt that the story was a little weak, even though they did give you like a big reveal at the end that I'm not going to ruin.
Yeah.
Which, you know, could lead to other stuff. I was like, okay, the only thing that, and I knew eventually this would come down the line, and maybe it's better that they did this right away, is his animosity towards the bots. And he has this resolved by the end of the first episode, and he's like, this is my new best friend, Robot Joe,
right?
Whatever the fuck his name is.
Well, it's also self-hatred because of the fact that he got half his leg blown off, and it's been replaced by a robotic leg that never works right in the first episode.
Yeah.
So there's that.
So there's no conflict between the two of them now.
Right. They buried. Okay. Basically his partner was able to show that he can trust him, and that he has his best interest in mind, and that he's actually he's not like the other bots.
So the writing is a little, and you know, like you said, it is the first couple episodes, but the acting is so good that kind of makes up for it, which is nice. So I'd like to see some better writing. You have a fucking really nice show.
Yeah, I'll keep trying it out. I mean, I'll probably watch at least half the season, if not the whole season, and then make my decision from there. Did either of you watch Fringe?
I watched the first couple episodes, and I was like, this show sucks.
I watched like the final episode.
Okay, so Jared, what you said, that is exactly how I watched that show. Kim and I sat down, my wife and I sat down to watch that show because, you know, we were big X-Files fans. I'm like, oh, this is going to be like the next X-Files. This is going to be awesome. And we watched like the first couple episodes and I was like, fuck this show. This is terrible. They're not
nothing like the X-Files.
Well, not only was it nothing like the X-Files, they just were... They were going in circles with some of the stuff, and the acting was not really great in the beginning. So I threw it. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not wasting my time on it. And then sometime around Christmas of that year, or maybe a little bit after, I was talking to my father-in-law, and he had been watching it. And he's like, no. He's like, it got so good halfway through the season. He's like, you should really go back and plow through those couple, like first 8 episodes, 9 episodes, and then keep watching it. And he was right. After those first 8 or 9 episodes, that show goes off the rails. It is so good. The things that they work into that show and the storylines they do and all the crazy crap that goes on in it, it was my favorite show that had been on during that time period.
It's not on anymore, right?
No, it ended last season.
Ended last year?
Yeah, it ended last year. Or sorry, it ended in May of this year, of 2013.
Or this year, yes.
Yeah. And I highly recommend. You liked the X-Files, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I highly recommend
I'll
you go back and blow through that first season. Since you've done it with Arrow, I know you can do it.
I know I can.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You shouldn't have told me that.
Yeah. By the end of the first season, you'll be like, this show is awesome, and I have to keep watching it.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How was the Eric the Midget episode?
You know what? I don't remember him being in it.
Oh, really?
I knew he was supposed to be on it, and I kept like waiting to find that episode. And if he's on it, I don't remember him being a huge part of it.
I saw it on YouTube just to watch the clip, so I would recognize it.
Okay. See, I don't really know what he looks like either, other than being a tiny little cretin.
A little midget.
My pajama pants, my PJ pants. Yeah, I know who he is. I know of him. I just don't really know too much what he looks like, so I wasn't sure.
Ian, do you know who Eric the Midget is?
I do not.
Oh. All right.
He's a whack
He's
packer.
a whack packer, yeah, on Stern.
Oh, okay.
But they got him into the show. He's very brief. It's a very small little scene where he's in there, but he gets his head blown off. Well, let's move on to a show that I watch.
No one cares.
Instead of okay, forget it. Let's end the show. Good night, guys.
All right. Good show.
I hate you all.
So what show do you watch?
We want to revisit Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We had spent 2 episodes almost talking about it all the time. And we said we would revisit it, and they just had episode 7 came out last week, I believe it was. And it was the big Thor, the Dark World tie-in. And I figured that was a good jumping on point to talk about the show again and see if it's developed any better and how we feel about it.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Not just me.
I want to hear your thoughts first.
My thoughts on episode 7. That's more like it.
That's more like it.
That's more like it. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted out of the show.
Can you explain a little more?
No, that's it. That's all you're getting out of me. That's more like it.
That's reasonable because my show watching apathy had started to kick in because when they went on like it wasn't even a hiatus. They skipped like a week, and I was instantly bored. Like there was the episode with some character named Scorch, and then I just missed a week and didn't care. I didn't even go back to watch it. And then Jared was like, and I wasn't going to watch this week because I was on vacation and I missed it and I had better things to do. And Jared's like, please go watch that. And I did, and it was a good episode. I'm happy that I watched it. I enjoy anything Asgardian. Thor is, he wasn't in it, but he's a good character. I like things themed around that, and I was pleased with how the show turned out. And
he was only mentioned like 50 times in the show.
Right, they bring him up a lot, but he obviously didn't make a guest appearance. And there was some other kind of fleshing out of characters. There was the little bit at the end with the implied shenanigans between the cavalry and that one agent.
Grant, you mean the main character? One of the main characters?
He's not. Yeah, no, the other.
Ian's as bad as me. He's like, the Asian chick and the dark-haired guy.
Yeah, those two. Well, something on the side.
Well, we'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah, but it was a good episode.
I've actually, in revisiting the show and thinking about it more, I've warmed up to all the characters on the show except for Sky.
Yeah.
That character, they could drop out the fucking plane and not jump out and save her. All right. That character is so weak on so many levels. Like, I understand that they need to have her there to explain all the S.H.I.E.L.D shit that they do. Otherwise, they would just do it and we'd never know what they were doing. But they either need to do some kind of page rewrite on her or get rid of her.
Where they lost me with Sky was in the previous episode, the Hub episode, where she pushes and pushes and pushes to find out what the actual plans are and talks Simmons into doing something completely against her character.
Oh,
and all kinds of horse shit. And I'm like, you completely lost me now, because she's already in the doghouse for the shit she pulled 2 episodes prior to that or whatever, with warning the guy from
The Rising Tide.
The Rising Tide. I wanted to say Red Dawn. I'm like, I know the fuck that. I can't remember the goddamn name of it.
Wolverines!
So she's already in the doghouse. She's got that funky bracelet on, and now she keeps pushing against the status quo, which, again, that's the other reason for her. It's not just to explain this S.H.I.E.L.D shit. It's to try to keep them honest, but she's so fucking annoying. She's not.
I agree.
She's not well written. They need to do a little more with her, and hopefully they get it right, because it's the thing that I don't like about the show so far.
Yeah, I love it when they get down to like the S.H.I.E.L.D shit and they're doing everything, and then she's always like, guys, is this really what we're gonna do? We're gonna leave them? It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. She's so annoying.
See, the thing is that Coulson does a good job of actually bucking the status quo for me. Like, he is the guy. He's in charge, but he is the rebel, right? He is, and Fury puts him into that position because he knows how to make the call and not always go by the book. And I think that, for me, that's good enough, and Sky is just like a hanger-on. Unless they're going to do more with her character, like she's still somehow involved with those dummies in that other organization. I don't know, but I hope something happens.
Yeah, and then, they had the layered thing in there of her big secret and what she was doing there. And you're like, oh, what is she up to? Is she working for a villain? And it's like, no, she's trying to find her birth parents.
Right.
Oh.
They're a S.H.I.E.L.D agent?
Yeah, okay. I guess that's good. And they're going to keep her around. Okay. And she got dropped off by a S.H.I.E.L.D agent at an adoption agency, a la the Three Stooges. I don't know. And I'm like, wow, this is really lame and going nowhere.
Well, they said that she was dropped off, but I thought it was that her parents were killed, or the S.H.I.E.L.D agent that was her parent was killed. No?
Nah, it was implied. I didn't know that it was clear or not.
Okay, yeah.
We don't know. All we know is that her parents are dead and that a S.H.I.E.L.D agent dropped her off at the orphanage.
Got it.
And so what? If her parents were originally S.H.I.E.L.D agents, then she just happened to get hooked up with S.H.I.E.L.D too? Like it was fate? Like what are we doing?
So back to the fact that this is tied. This episode is tied into Thor very briefly, other than the fact that the whole episode is about an Asgardian relic.
Right.
Where they were, it's a note that I didn't mention in the show when we talked about Thor, but I had actually written down that scene that happens in that building. It was very blatant to me in that movie that something very obvious was going on there. Like, they pointed out the fact that those people were in that building, and they're like, oh, that's get away from the windows. Like, but Thor's out there and he's got a hammer, and there are people all standing up with the video cameras. And as soon as he hit the guy with the hammer and the huge shockwave blows all the windows in?
I don't remember.
That's something like that happens. And the note I had written down was like, they're showing superhuman collateral damage purposefully. And it turns out I was right. That's the point that they used to tie S.H.I.E.L.D. into Thor, by them going and cleaning up the shit that happened because of the huge battle that happened there. I was like, wow, they were very obvious about something going on in that building. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were using it as a tie-in to the show, and I thought it was very clever, and it wasn't heavy-handed. I didn't know exactly what they were doing. It wasn't until my hindsight of seeing the show going, oh, that's what they were setting up, and I thought it was very good.
I would have never picked that up. I should have been like, oh, that's a cool scene where stupid kids are trying to watch Thor fight somebody, which is exactly what would happen now that Thor's out and about and everybody knows about him. They wouldn't run because these two crazy characters are fighting. They're like, holy shit, that's Thor. Get your phone out.
Right,
you know?
But there was no reason to show that.
I guess so. I don't know. I'm too caught up in the moment.
Right.
Ever since I've known Brian's able to pick up on shit like that, whereas I get thrown into the story and I don't pay attention to any of that shit.
Now, the discussions I had with some other friends, they had thought that, and I actually was convinced then too after they had told me, was that they thought the S.H.I.E.L.D. episode was going to have to deal with the crazy monstery thing that showed up on Earth.
That would have been fun.
I thought that would have been a good episode too, but I like this one just as much because it shows like S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the shit cleanup crew after the superhumans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome.
I really would have loved at the end of Thor if they did a post-credit sequence where the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents showed up and they just walk in there like, we got to clean all this up. Bang, end the scene right there.
Right. That would have been awesome. Tie-in too, right.
But this was nice. I mean, it ties very loosely into the movie. It's only in the beginning. But then it ties bigger into the Thor mythos with all that other stuff, which was great.
Yes, absolutely. The another organization is basically, we're shown another organization that hates Asgardians. Am I correct? Is that, or hates the superhumans? Isn't that what they are? The Asgardian hatred group of some sort. I can't remember their name.
The original hooligans who dug up the staff.
Yes.
I thought they were just like a Norway hate group.
No, I think Brian's right. They were like, in order to defeat the gods, we have to become the gods.
Right. It was ever since Thor had shown. Yeah, ever since
Yeah.
Thor had shown up, this group kind of, from what I understood, this group was created against Thor and his Asgardian, because now they know that those myths are not actually part of their heritage.
Right,
they were just aliens and shit.
I do love that line from Peter Manickle. He's like, I thought I was a mythology teacher. Turns out I was a history teacher.
Right. Yeah. There was like a lot of subtle things going on there prior to everyone finding out that he's actually Asgardian. Yeah.
And I did like the line coming from Sky where she was like, well, if Thor's real, doesn't that mean other gods are real too? And she starts rattling them off.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Although she didn't mention Hercules, which I'm really dying to see.
Them pull Hercules in?
Yes, because Hercules is like the complete polar opposite of Thor as far as personality, but on the same strength level.
Right.
I would love to see. I don't know if you guys ever read The Incredible Hercules.
I have
little bits and pieces, only because it's kind of funny. Because he's just all about getting wasted and getting laid.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great book. And then I was discussing with my friends and we're like, Incredible Hercules would make a great TV show where it's just him and his little Amadeus Cho partner, the seventh smartest person in the world. I don't know if you remember that part.
I only know Amadeus Cho. Amadeus Cho? Is that
yeah.
Only from HeroClix. That's the only reason I know that name.
Amadeus Cho is he's like a teenage kid, but he's the seventh smartest guy in the Marvel universe.
Oh.
And he hooks up with Hercules, and they hit the road and get in adventures, man. And it's like you just picture Hercules with a keg around his arm and Amadeus Cho doing calculations.
I love that he's the seventh. That's very specific.
Yes, it is.
It makes me wonder about 6 and 8.
I was thinking, where's Tony on that level? Tony Stark.
I think Tony's above him. The only reason I keep saying that is because he utters it like every issue that he's the seventh smartest person on the planet.
All I can tell you is that
they don't have an official list.
I think Reed Richards is the first one, maybe.
Yeah. Seems plausible.
Makes sense.
Probably it goes like Reed, Dr. Doom, Tony Stark. I don't know. Bruce Banner. You got to get all the nerd superheroes in there.
Hank Pym in there.
Yeah.
When I was watching this episode and Peter McNichol showed up, the first thing that came out of my mouth was Vigo.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's Vigo.
I think a lot of people were.
Yeah.
But his character was great. I actually hope they bring him back.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed his character too, and I hope they use him again. It makes sense that they would, I feel, especially since it was played by somebody who, I mean, he's not a big actor, but he's known. He's a well-known actor, a TV actor, and in some movies. So I feel that they may end up using him again. Yeah.
And I did like, again, it's a lot of times I always think I'm getting ahead of this show, and they throw me for a loop because I was like, oh, it's going to be he's the one setting it up to getting the staff, and he wants the power, and this and that. I did not see it coming when Ward tries to stab him, and you realize he's an Asgardian. Brian, I'm sure you did, but I didn't.
I didn't know what his deal was. I actually thought what he had said. I wanted to be the guy who found it. I wanted to be the guy to study it first. I thought it made sense to me, but it didn't make sense that he knew exactly where it was. So I wasn't sure what was going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, I enjoyed what happened. I thought it was good. I thought the writing on this show, I think, is like for plots and the plot twists that they do, I think is very good. The dialogue from time to time,
it's getting better.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the character that I'm loving the most now, that I'm developing a little crush on, Simmons.
Yeah. Well, I said that from the very beginning. I thought she was going to be my favorite. I really like her.
Yeah. Anytime she opens her mouth, I'm very happy.
Hey-oh.
Hey! And then Sky comes in. I'm like, get the fuck out of here,
prod
bitch.
pod. The old prod pod.
So back to what Ian was saying about the end of the episode.
Yes.
Where
a little Ward and
is that now? Okay, now here's where I'm confused. Ward sees her. She opens the door. She's got like a bottle of champagne in there. Leaves the door open.
Or a bottle of like
Ward
whiskey.
Was it Ward that went in there with her?
Yes.
Yes.
It was quite clear.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's where I'm thrown off. Because weren't they setting up like a her and Coulson type thing going on in the earlier episodes?
Yeah, a little bit. Like they have history.
Right, but weren't they setting up a Sky and Ward thing in the earlier episodes?
Good point.
Basically, what comes out of this episode is that we know that both Grant and Agent May,
yes,
are damaged. They both have a lot of similar life issues, and they both held the staff, so they both know what that power and those dark issues are. So she gets wasted, or not wasted, but wasted enough, and decides that she wants to partake in a little sexual action with Agent Grant, so just leaves the door open behind her.
All right, so it was Grant. I wasn't sure if he was like witnessing her and Coulson banging, or she was like, I'm leaving this door open for you, motherfucker.
No. Then
you
need to get out more.
Definitely be.
Are you sure? Because this week's episode may open up with Ward walking in the room and Coulson's already in the bed, and he's like, what the fuck, dude?
No, because we already saw what bed Coulson was in. Maybe that's why they did that actual ending after the credits.
And let's go back to Coulson. They need to give me a little more on this Tahiti shit, and quick, because I'm getting real sick of it.
No, see, and I think they're dragging it out at just the right pace.
Right.
I think
it's going to be an end of the season reveal.
Yeah, especially because he's looking into it more himself, and now he's having nightmares about it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I want the reveal right now, but they need to give me more information because it's been the same information over and over again.
Well, I mean, I feel like if you get any information, you're going to get it all.
One more clue will be the reveal.
Right.
Nah, they can give me more. Come on.
Nope.
You couldn't draw any.
No, okay.
You couldn't.
He
draw
died.
anything.
He got better, and no one knows. No one's willing to reveal why.
You couldn't draw any information from his dream. Nothing going on the beach or anything in that dream that will help.
Unlike you, Brian, who I'm sure you were studying the background, and you're like, the birds form the words Doctor Strange. You didn't see that?
Doctor Strange was written into the tarp that was over their head in the cabana. The cabana was this color, and that's the color that Doctor Strange wears in issue 105 of.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you noticed something like that. You're like, do you see this? It looks just like his cape, something like that. Okay, you guys disagree with me. Adam's shaking his head. He agrees with me. He wants a little more. A little tidbit. Give me something, please.
No, I feel that if we learn anything else, it's going to be too much.
Right.
Or maybe that'll be a mid-season thing. Maybe in an episode or two, right before the holidays, they'll give us a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, like show me he has like a superpower or something. And
no.
What the fuck's that all about?
Do not.
I'm using that as an example for something. Just a little, like giving me some information, but not giving me the whole reveal. Hopefully. Now, also,
midichlorians.
Oh, okay. Also, since they had the big Thor tie-in, they just announced too that when Captain America comes out, there's going to be a Captain America crossover as well.
Yeah, boy.
So, and like I said, that's more like it. That's what I wanted out of the show. Now, I'm sure next week it'll be another Scorch episode, and I'll be like, this show fucking blows.
They can't all be, hits. They can't
all be movie tie-ins.
Right.
No, I agree, because the one before that, The Hub.
Yeah,
The Hub, I did not like that episode at all.
There was not a lot to like about it. I did like the fact that they were at the Hub, and we got to see the Hub. Apparently, the main character at the Hub, Victoria Hand.
Oh, they butchered that character.
Okay, see, I don't know her. I know that she is a named character from the actual comic book universe, but I don't know her, so I couldn't make one, reasonable assertion or another about her. I just knew that she was a.
They may have changed the character since the last time I read a Marvel book, but she appeared in. I think her first appearance was in Dark Avengers.
Yes. Okay, so somebody did tell me her storyline. She had been like a Girl Friday to
Norman Osborn.
Right. And you could never
was her Maria Hill.
Right. And you could never tell whether or not she was bad and doing things for Osborn, or if she was good and just going along and trying to either screw things up so they went the right way, or random other things. This was the story that was told to me. I couldn't figure it.
The way I gathered it was like she kind of had like an evil streak to her in a way that like she's like, I'll do what I can to get to the top.
Okay.
Because I remember them doing a little backstory on her, but like she's not inherently evil, twisting her mustache and being like, I agree with everything you say, Norman Osborn. Like she was kind of like, you can't do it that way. You have to do it this way. There's procedures to do this kind of shit and stuff like that. She was very, very hot. And I do recall in one episode she got naked.
For a comic book character.
Yeah, for a comic book character. She got naked one time, which was, I think, made her star rise even more amongst boys. But when they showed her on the show, I was like, maybe the character's changed, but she's really boring and nothing. Like, big fucking deal is what I got out of it.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then the whole thing about that episode that really irritated me was it was Ward and Fitz were out in the field, and they didn't tell them there was an evacuation plan and that they were leaving them there to die.
Right.
And, of course, the conscience of the show, Skye, you can't do that, and did all her shit to fucking change that. And in the end, Fitz and Ward do what they're supposed to do. They knock this machine out so S.H.I.E.L.D. can come in and raid the place, right?
Yeah.
And then they walk out, and he's like, there's no evacuation plan. We're going to die. And then the plane, the Agent Coulson plane, just kind of shows up and picks them up. And I was like, why couldn't S.H.I.E.L.D. just done that in the first place? It didn't seem very hard to get them out of there.
I think they addressed it saying all other agents were being used in other places. There was no one to actually go in and do that.
Except you guys, which we could have told you to go do it.
Right. It
just didn't make any sense to me. At the end, I was like, that's okay. That's how they got him out. That doesn't seem very hard.
See, and
why couldn't
the scene that infuriated me the most in this episode was they're trying to sneak into the compound, right? They're trying to figure out a way. They're getting chased by dogs, and they're sitting in that drain pipe for a night. And then you see them laying down in a what looks to be like a two-man bedroll. Do you,
right.
You remember the scene now? And
yeah, where the truck drives over there.
Right. It's kind of a camouflagey or like blends into the road. And they are laying in the middle of a giant, wide dirt road. And they just happen to be laying in the exact spot where this truck is going to drive over them, not on top of them, and kill them.
They're lucky the guy was not trying to light a cigarette at that exact moment and cut the wheel a little bit.
I was like, all right, I could suspend disbelief for a good number of things. Superhumans, gods coming to Earth, superpowers and shit like that, but not this. This is the thing that broke me. I could not take this scene.
Brian wanted it when they got out of the little suitcase thing they were in. Ward unzips it and Fitz's head's crushed. Oh!
We're in, Fitz. Let's go. Oh, boy. Oof. Yikes.
You stay here. I'll finish the mission.
He just kind of like puts the bedroll back down and backs away slowly from it. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is such horseshit. That was the one thing that stuck with me from that episode.
Well, that's all I have to say about that. You guys have anything to add?
No, I think it was another good episode, and hopefully again they continue down this path of giving us more about Coulson's business, giving us more about the actual superhero stuff that's going on, and just I want to learn more about the shit that S.H.I.E.L.D. does, and less about Sky's mouth running.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the podcast. Just want to remind you that if you want to reach out to us, you can reach us on Twitter at ProdPod. You could also reach the show via email, prodigalsonspodcast@gmail.com, or leave comments on the website, prodigalsonspodcast.com. We also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/ you guessed it, Prodigal Sons Podcast, where we post not only our shows, but we also post other tidbits of news that we learn about during the day. And sometimes Jared will just post random shit. So you can come on there and comment and join us in discussion about a most recent show or any news items we post. Also, if you are a fan of the show and would like to support us, you can click on the Amazon.com link at the top of ProdigalSonsPodcast.com. If you have any purchases you need to make through Amazon, you click on that link. Go make all your purchases. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It just gives us a little small advertising fee on the back end, and we really appreciate it. It'll go towards maybe buying some movies to give away to listeners, or maybe some better broadcasting equipment. You never know. We also do have a YouTube channel. Just edit that right in. Prodigal Sons Podcast YouTube channel. Jared is kind enough to edit the show into a video and put all kinds of awesome pictures of Ian on there. So if you're really looking for Ian, you want to know what Ian looks like, go check out the Prodigal Sons Podcast channel on the YouTubes.
Apparently, you made quite a few appearances this last one too.
Apparently, we didn't talk enough about the YouTube channel earlier in the episode. So the big boobs hopefully will be in the next video. You never know. You gotta look to find out. You gotta watch it to find out.
Oh, that's it. I'm totally stealing a picture of Brian off of Facebook, and now you're going to be on it.
That's fine. You gonna Photoshop big boobs on me?
Sure. That would be awesome. We might garner a different type of audience that I wanted, but hey, man, listeners are listeners.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's I don't know. I'm done. I'm losing my voice. I'm done with the Twitter pitches.
Do you have that all written down, or do you remember that all?
I just remember it all.
Oh my god, I don't know anything. I know nothing.
Fact.
Jared like Broad Pod.
Me.
Oh, no, learn calculus. All right, well, I guess that's it, guys.
What the hell? What a jip.
Didn't want to talk about Fables,
promised.
huh?
Yeah.
Oh my
Thanks
god,
for nothing,
that's right.
jackass.
I'm sorry. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. Tell me about it. How's Telltale's new game?
Telltale Games came out with a new episodic game, which we spoke about a few episodes ago. It's based on the comic book Fables, which is about fairy tale characters living in New York City after they've been exiled from their homeworld. And just like I've only played the Walking Dead Telltale game, but there are other games by them. They did a Back to the Future game. I think they've done another one. I think they have a Jurassic Park one in the works, or they've already done one maybe. I'm not sure. But the first episode is out. It was there's a free demo. I was mistaken. I said a week ago, I think, that there was a free first episode, but it's actually just a free demo. And I played the demo. I know, Jared, you played the whole episode, correct?
Yeah, I dropped the $5 and played the full episode.
Yeah. Here's what I got from the demo. First of all, the visuals are fantastic.
Stunning.
It's beautiful.
Stunning.
I was blown away by not just how good the animation is, but the style of it.
Compared to The Walking Dead, how is it? Because I've never played any. This is the first one I ever played.
Right, and that's what I was going to hit on. It's like they took all the money that they got from the Walking Dead episodes that were award winning. I don't know if you know that the Walking Dead game was up for awards and won. I don't remember what they were, but it won awards. So they must have dumped it all into the Fables one because it looks gorgeous. The way they did some of the interactions with the characters and like telling you which buttons you need to hit is head and shoulders above the way it looked in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead was very form as function. Like, here's the pad, here's your Y button, your X button, your B button, your A button. Hit whatever you need. Here's a timer at the bottom telling you how long you have to hit it. And then the times where you have to like mash A or mash a certain button. It was very generic. All right, it looked fine. And I didn't have any arguments, but it looked okay. The ones that they did in the Fables game are like very comic book looking. It
looks like a moving comic book page.
Yes.
in my opinion.
It does. They tied in the way the buttons are into like the actual like cell. Like it just looks gorgeous, and the music, the mood that is set by some of the music that is played in this, like just the
it's very film noir.
Yes, and that's what it's meant to
Chinatown.
be.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's like.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the comic book, you will absolutely love this. It takes place before all the stuff in the comic book, so
right.
All the characters are there that you love. A lot of nods to the book that you might recognize. The acting is great. The visual style is great. For me personally, since I never played anything like this before, the controls took a little getting used to.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do really throw you into a fight scene, like right in the beginning.
Yeah, against the wolf.
And since I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I was like, "What the fuck? I don't know." I was getting my ass beat the whole time.
Well, that was a little different than The Walking Dead because The Walking Dead did not have any kind of lengthy fights like that. It was like a zombie grabs you and you have to mash A to either get away, or you mashed A to a certain point and then it told you to hit X, or it told you to hit Y and you didn't know what it was until it showed up. These are very involved, very intricate fight scenes in Fables, and they're done really well. And I had never been introduced to one like that either, because they did not exist in the Walking Dead one.
Oh, okay, so it took a little getting used to for me, but once I got the swing of things, it made more sense. And it is essentially like watching a movie where you make decisions, a lot of investigating, a lot of looking around. But Ian, I think you'll like it.
Okay.
And the big thing about these games is that the decisions you make in the game affect the rest of the game. So,
right.
For instance, like again, I didn't play the full episode, but I know from The Walking Dead, there are times where you have to basically decide someone lives, someone dies. There's times where you basically have to decide whether to leave somebody behind or take them with you, whether to save somebody or not, and it affects outcomes. And at the end of each episode, it tells you, like, you chose this with 33% of everyone else who played it. The other 66% chose the other option. And it gives you like the 5 or 6 main options that are big choices in the game, and it shows you what other people chose and what you chose. Then it affects the outcome in the next episode. It affects the next episode. Keep going until the end of the game. So
will it be affected by your choice or the most popular choice?
By your choice, but it tells you what your choice was compared to everyone else's.
Yeah, right. It gives you all the major beats.
Right.
Where you made stuff and tells you how you compared to everybody else who played the game.
Right. There was an option. There was one choice I made in The Walking Dead that I was only in 8% of people who made that choice.
You did.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, oh, really? I was only 8%? And so just really quickly, they're making a sequel to The Walking Dead one. And they've already said, like, all the choices that you made in your game in the original Walking Dead will affect everything that happens in that second game.
Oh, wow.
So you can go through and do another save profile and play the game a different way and get a different type of ending where you either save, everybody gets saved, or these people don't make it or whatever. And then when you go to play the second game, those interactions will affect things that happen in the second game. And I love that about it.
Because Ian had asked me about that, and I said, he's like, oh, you can go back and do different things. And I said, yeah, but I said, I'm not going to do it till I play all 5 episodes.
Exactly.
Because I want to see how, what I did to do it. And I don't want to see all the different things till I see everything.
Exactly. So I just finally finished The Walking Dead. I'm going to go back and play it again and make some different choices to see what the ending is.
And the story is pretty engaging for this one. I know you didn't get the whole thing, but it was damn interesting. The only thing that I didn't like, and I don't know how this is going to play out, is something happens at the end of the episode that if you had read the comic books, this possibly can't happen. So there's got to be some way to resolve it.
Okay. I know. Okay, so a character.
Trying to say this without giving anything away. So you're like, oh, I know that can't happen. So it wasn't that big of a deal to me.
Right.
But we'll see. For someone who hasn't read the books, you'd be like, oh my god. And more important news related to this. Telltale announced that they're coming out with a Game of Thrones game.
Yes, I saw that also.
I mean, if it plays I'm sold now. After this first one, I'll be like, well, I might even go and get the Walking Dead ones to try them out, even though I'm not really that interested in it.
I can't wait for the Game of Thrones one. I'll never get to play it, but I'm excited.
Even without being interested in the zombies or whatever, the storyline is fantastic in the Walking Dead one, and there's heart-rending moments in some of those episodes. Where I was like, episode 3 was like the most heart-crushing episode of all of them. I was like, oh, I can't believe, why is this happening? It was to be able to put that kind of feeling and evoke that kind of feeling from a video game, it's like you said, it's a movie you get to interact with.
Exactly.
There's video game elements to it. You get to make the decisions. It's a choose your own adventure kind of thing, but it's very provoking and very emotionally evoking. And I was very happy that something like this exists, and I wholeheartedly back them making tons more based on other properties.
I agree. I'm so excited to hear about the Game of Thrones.
Why will you not be able to get Why can't you play this?
I never have time. My wife likes to thwart my attempts to enjoy video games, and Kelly is also like 6.5 months pregnant. So in like 3 months, I'm going to turn into Brian, and I won't have any joy in my life left.
Look at this guy sneaking this fucking news in without telling us before.
Yeah, I had no idea that your wife was pregnant. Thanks for that.
Yeah, well, that's what makes episode 9 so exciting.
Is that what you're going to name your kid?
What? No.
Episode 9?
Absolutely not.
Will you name your child Roho Johnson?
Episode 7 of 9.
Well, congratulations, Ian.
Yes.
Thanks.
Way to get your wife pregnant. Woo!
Yep, absolutely.
Way to have sex, buddy.
Yep, unprotected sex.
Did you do the prod pod?
I don't think you could get pregnant from the prod pod.
Well, if I can give you any advice that this has nothing to do with raising kids,
Okay.
she might be more interested in letting you play this and watching because it does play out like a show. And the episodes, it's maybe 2 hours of game time. That's it.
Okay, that's not bad.
So, yeah, it won't
I mean, I was considering that. And I was considering, there would be times when it could even work in reverse. Would I be offended to sit and watch her play it?
Nope.
Okay.
Unless it's an episode you haven't played yet.
Right. I'm sure we could work that out.
Or you can play it together.
Absolutely, and especially if it's something. That's why I'm super excited about Game of Thrones. If it comes out soon enough, I mean, just well timed enough. That's something we would definitely, because she's super into that. She's read all the books. She's watched all the episodes with me. She's way enthusiastic. I just happen to enjoy Fables. That was one of the first comic books, not first comic books that I got into, but when I was reintroduced to comic books by my good friend Jared Lanham, he had recommended that amongst other things.
So what'll be good, Ian? By the time that the Game of Thrones one comes out, your child will probably be born. And while you and Kelly are playing the game, you could dress your child up like Tyrion. Have him sitting.
Oh, maybe what a great Halloween costume idea. I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, there you go. You guys could do all the Lannisters. You could be Jaime, and Kelly could be Cersei, and your kid could be Tyrion.
That's a fantastic idea.
And when
I'm gonna have no problem selling it.
And when your kid's a little older, you can be Hodor, and you could be carrying around the one with the broken legs. Hodor.
These are all great ideas.
They're gold.
I should
actually do that with my son. In my future.
Yeah, he's probably too big for that now, though.
I can carry him around on my back. I mean, I'm no giant like the guy who plays Hodor, but
All right, gentlemen, let's wrap this up.
Please.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care.
See ya.
And fuck Judd Winnick and his stupid ass. What the hell is that?
That's me drinking.
Oh. You finally come to that?
Yeah.
It's time for the Prod Pod.
It's been a long couple days.
You're my only friend, Jack Daniels. Yeah, Ian, if you ever wanted to tell one of the flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz to fuck off, play the Fables game.
Here's my idea.
That's a great idea. Good. Write that down.
It's just a
Adam.
picture of a nutsack, and our faces are 3 moles on the nutsack.
That'll bring him in.
Yep.
We'll be big in the gay community.
That'll be the Prod Pod.